Hello.
I just realized the thumbs up I was doing seemed like a tacit.
Huh?
I just realized that the thumbs up I was just giving could be seen as like a 1 second review of the Grinch. But
I know. I was like, wish we I'd known you were gonna do that because I would have done like maybe like ooh, like this. Is it gonna be? Which way is it gonna go? You were not looking forward to this.
no, I really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because the previews made it seem like it was just all fucking barfing pickles back into a pickle jar and like.
I wish that's what this movie was.
I don't. I literally like plugged my ears for that part.
No, that was actually one of the only parts where I got a couple of chuckles. Is the 30 seconds of this movie when he's actually acting like the Grinch.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of this movie?
I thought it was probably better than the Jim Carrey one.
Oh, okay.
Only having seen portions of that movie, but hating the portions that I saw.
Sure.
But it did something that kind of bugs me, like even more than it would have bugged me if you had told me ahead of time that this is what they were going to do with the Grinch, and that's that they fleshed it out by like trying really hard to humanize him.
Oh God.
And
right.
so like it pissed me off because it's like he's just a douchebag though. That's his character.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people are just douchebags. They don't have to have like a tragic.
They did that in the
barren childhood.
They gave him a backstory in the Ron Howard one that was like a little similar to the one in this. I can't remember if he was from an orphanage in the other one, but they did show that like, oh, this is all because of shit that happened in his childhood, and there was like a little kid Grinch in that one too. Yeah, man, like this movie, I mean, the tagline for this movie should be like, "You're a mean one, but not too mean, Mr. Grinch."
You're a mean one occasionally when the plot calls for it, Mr.
Occasionally when the plot calls for it, yes, you should be kind of dickish towards someone for like maybe 30 seconds of the movie, but before you learn
the movie's gonna bend over backwards to explain why you were being a dick in that moment.
Yeah, and I realize that like, okay, for it to be like a 90-minute movie, things got to be fleshed out a bit, but what they do throughout this whole movie is like, okay, yeah, he learns the big lesson at the end of it. That's well after he's learned several other lessons throughout this entire movie. Like he just seems like a character in this movie that just has mood swings. Like, he just seems like a guy who's just, okay, he's a person. Sometimes he's grumpy about stuff, and then other times, maybe he'll be a dick to Max, but then really quickly he'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. Or when he's got the big reindeer with him, and he's like, okay, you'll be my big reindeer, you'll guide the sleigh. And then the reindeer's family shows up. Turns out,
like, oh, you're free.
Oh, well, okay, I guess it's all good. Like, what a toothless fucking movie.
Like, I wouldn't mind if those moments were all that there was. Like, if he was a Grinch, but, you know, kind to his family in the way that, like, the patriarch of the Royal Tenenbaums was a douchebag to people, but, like, really nice to dogs. Like, that kind of humanization of a douchebag character, I don't mind. But, like, they kept fucking pausing the story to be like, okay, he's not really mad here. He's sad because he's remembering because when he was a kid, and apparently he lived in a big...
This is such
I have to imagine, because this dude has, like, oodles of disposable income.
His place is actually kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's, like, amazing and huge, and, like, the flashbacks they kept doing were, like, to him standing in a big empty mansion. So I only have to imagine he grew up fucking Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, when he's like, he actually lives in kind of a badass cave. Like, okay, he lives in a cave, but he lives in a cave that, like, Pee Wee Herman would live in if his house in Pee Wee's Big Adventure was a cave. Like, he has all of these, like, gadgets going around and everything. I'm like, actually, this, really, like, this, I want to live here. This is the nicest place in Whoville.
Yeah!
It just happens to be in a cave.
Just for encompassing his gigantic chalkboard.
Yeah, even, like, Benedict Cumberbatch's voice in this is everything about this movie is just... So first of all, yeah, it's generic with a capital fucking G, but it's so safe and so safely manufactured that you can just sort of see Illumination, like a lot of their other movies, just laminating the A cinema score on their wall. Like, it's such a gutless version of this story. Again, right down to his voice, because honestly, Benedict Cumberbatch is a good choice to be the voice of the Grinch. Just not the fucking voice he's using in this movie. Like, if you're having, like, Benedict Cumberbatch, if you say to somebody, like, Benedict Cumberbatch is the voice of the Grinch, that'll seem cool, and the voice that you're picturing in your head...
Yeah, him doing, like, his normal fucking Sherlock-ass voice.
Yeah, or, like, his con voice or shit like that. Not this snooty waiter voice.
It's me, the Grinch.
Yeah, like he's just this snooty waiter who's just, it's the Sausage King of Chicago. Like, this voice he's doing in this movie. Like, he just... I don't know. Like, this whole movie, he doesn't seem that mean. He doesn't seem that much of a Grinch. Like, yeah, watching it, I'm like, okay, of course I'm thinking of the original one in my head, but because the original one, it is so much better than this movie. It's just a 20-minute runtime. But also, it just did... in that short amount of time, it just did mean and grumpy and evil so much more than this film did. You really felt like this is somebody who just genuinely hates Christmas.
Yeah.
And
it fucking pissed me off. Because it's like, it had this... In my old age, I've lost a little bit of faith in humanity as a whole, and perhaps that is coloring my view on the moral this movie was trying to foist off on me a little bit.
Right.
But to have this character, like, that they try so hard to humanize and explain the terrible things that he's doing, and then, like, at the end of the movie, have him standing at the head of the table, them having forgiven him completely and entirely in, like, the course of 5 seconds, talking about how, like... love and peace is the most important thing and what we need in this moment. It's like, fuck you.
that is
fuck you.
That is something that you notice more when it's fleshed out to a 90-minute movie. Like, in 20 minutes,
like,
you really get...
one, it's allowed to be trite.
Yeah. And it's better at it, too. It's better at showing this grumpy character. It's his payoff to becoming good at the end.
Plus, it was more cartoonish.
Yeah, it's more cartoonish. So when you layer it out to this 90-minute story, and you give everybody a backstory, including Cindy Lou Who's Great Pumpkin subplot, yeah, it makes things like that just feel sort of, what universe is this? Like, I don't know. Maybe I am a Grinch talking about this movie, but I really didn't like this movie.
Too, in the original cartoon, the Who's opinion of what he was doing didn't really enter into it. You know, like, it wasn't about them. It was about him and the change on his worldview by how unflappable by adversity the Who's were capable of being.
Yeah.
That... You know, yeah, he carved the roast beast, but that wasn't about them allowing him to carve the roast beast. That was about him deciding to carve the roast beast and become a part of that community.
Yeah.
In this movie, it was about them fucking forgiving his ass and allowing him to be part of the community after he'd done this terrible thing. He didn't even fucking unload the sled in this movie. He just kind of rolled up and said, here's your shit, my bad, and then went back home.
I mean, it's not a bad message. It's not a bad message in the film.
It is.
I don't know. I mean, for it being a Christmas movie, I don't mind this movie's message about forgiveness. It's
not forgiveness.
But they literally forgive him at the end of the movie.
Yeah, but it wasn't even forgiveness. He didn't apologize to anyone except for Lou Who.
Didn't he say he was sorry at the end when he gets up on the horn and everything?
To her.
Sure.
The rest of the people. I feel like there's a difference between forgiveness and compassion and being a fucking doormat. And this movie seemed to lean pretty heavily on the latter.
No, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it feels like it's a thing that has to happen because it's supposed to happen in this story. And again, it's just like a lot of other things in this movie where it's just too pointless. This movie was a waste of my goddamn fucking time. It was a waste of my goddamn time. And I'm sitting there watching it, and again, like I said, it has it's trying to do a similar message that the first one had, but it's just all of this kind of thing to just sort of stitch it together and put in all this backstory and these extra scenes, which do really, really feel like padding. So yeah, when it gets to the moments that do happen in the book and that do happen in the original, like what you're talking about, where he's sitting at the head of the table, it does make it feel extra trite and sort of more shallow, honestly, ironically, given it has more backstory in it. But because a lot of it is played so generic and so safe, and yeah, him being more so kind of this doormat in the movie, and yet them keeping the thing in there about like his heart is 2 sizes too small. Is it really?
You know exactly why he is the way he is. Because you're about to explain it to us in 30-second increments throughout the rest of this fucking movie.
Yeah, right? It's like, okay, he's not like a sociopath in this version or anything like that, or someone who's completely heartless. In the other one, like, okay, yeah, that guy was demented and fucking evil with his big...
shoes were too small.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, he's just someone who just hates and is annoyed by Christmas and wants to get rid of a bunch of annoying shit. Like, he is just, in the other one, he is just simply determined to get all of this shit done. Whereas in this, he has all of these moments thrown in there where it's like, oh, well, you're a good boy, Max. Oh, well, dear, go be with that. Like, oh, well, you know, that family's cool and whatnot, whatever. So that when it does get to the bullet points of everything else, it's like, does he really need to be doing this? It feels like you should just distract him and he'll get his mind focused on something else.
Yeah. Get him a giant fuck off plate of spaghetti.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That was like the least safe joke in this movie, and they wasted it in the first 5 minutes.
I know.
Like, the preview made it look like he was like eating a bunch to be fat enough to be Santa Claus, but in the movie it's because he ate all his food because he was emotional eating because it was Christmas time.
Right, yeah. Like, you know what he was in this movie? Between... you know, the little part where he's going around town and fucking with people, which is really no more than what you see in the trailer. When he's going around town and fucking people and doing, like, schemes that backfire on him, and, you know, he's got an organ in his big lair that he plays a lot. He's like just a vanilla, safe, toothless Professor Fate. Right down to a sidekick named Max.
Max was the best part of this movie.
The dog?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a cutie. I wish my dog was like that. Bring me coffee in the morning.
Yeah, Max was better than Fred the reindeer.
Fred was cute with his big nose. But again, it was just like these adorable moments that were respites to the power grind that was the rest of the movie.
Yeah, that thing was just there, like, that thing was like, he might as well be the minion of this movie, and that, like, that...
all his charm was from his character model. It was just because they did a good job making him look pretty Seussian.
They give Fred the reindeer, like, the goofy hair. He's big. He gives puppy dog eyes in the scene.
Like a big old snoot.
Yeah, he doesn't really do anything that's intricate to anything that's going on. He's just there. It is just to sell merchandise. That is all this character is. And I realize that, okay, yeah, it's a kid's movie. There's going to be a lot of that in the movie, in any movie that's like this. But when that's all the character is, there's nothing else to this character. It is just, he shows up, does some cute shit, does what he needs to do, which is to just sell toys and put toys in the crane machine that's in there. That is all that he's there for. And when he gets his job done, he's out of the fucking movie until he randomly shows up later on.
To save the day.
Cause
he was adorable little reindeer son.
Right. God, I didn't even like the soundtrack of this movie. No. The original songs in this movie, they have like these... They have a few original songs in this. One that's like kind of a cover to the Grinch song. And it sounds like what a drunk guy is singing to himself in the shower when he's trying to sing the Grinch theme, but is kind of forgetting some of the words and mixing around some of the sentences. It was annoying every time it happened in this movie. I actually do like the Jim Carrey one better than this.
Do you?
Yeah, because I can at least, it's not that good of a movie, but I can at least respect it. Like, it at least had a vision. It at least had scope. It was weird. Like, it really created this weird oddball live action Dr. Seuss universe, yeah, like the script really wasn't very good, and you can kind of break the movie down to like it's Ron Howard trying to do Tim Burton.
I was about to say, you want a good like nuanced fucking redemption arc, you watch Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yeah, certainly, way better than this movie.
Worked to get things back on track. He realized he fucked up. He saved Santa Claus from Oogie Boogie. He didn't just like, hey guys, I fucked up and lost Santa Claus, but I've apologized, so we're good. Bye.
I was, you know, at that point, though, I just was waiting for it to be over.
Wanted it to be over.
Yeah, because it's like, I know where this is at in the fucking story. They have all this side plot with Cindy Lou Who. It's like, okay, I know where this is going. I've seen the cartoon. I know that she's gonna fucking catch his ass and he's gonna say the thing about the tree. Just get to all the story. God damn it, so this movie can wrap up. At least it's only 90 minutes. Again, like I said, it is such a formulaic, generic-ass movie that I prefer the Ron Howard one in its weird, looks like it's taking place after the nuclear holocaust world.
I remember what I was gonna say, because I realized while watching this movie that any kid, sorry, kids, earmuffs, any children that are watching, any kid watching this who's paying attention and is even a little bit smart is gonna realize there's no Santa Claus from the way the timeline works in this movie. And Cindy Lou Who would have realized it too. Which is probably why she looked so sad during the Bahu Rore song. Because
oh no, Tim Allen doesn't exist.
No. By changing the plot and making it so she's wanting to catch Santa Claus and have a conversation with him, having be like a cookie on the plate with a little rope tied to it. When she came downstairs and the Grinch was there, which meant that the cookie was still there, but the presents were there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Meant that there's no Santa Claus. And the fact that that happened in all the other houses that he arrived at, cookies were still there, but presents were there, meant that any kid watching would figure it out too.
I think that's probably the case with every other version of the Grinch. Like,
No!
Santa Claus doesn't exist in the other Grinches either. That's why he's able to dress up like the Santa Claus and go steal shit.
I mean, you don't know.
Okay.
Maybe Santa Claus went before he went, because in the original Grinch they didn't deal with the whole cookie thing.
Oh, that I can't remember. But I don't know.
There's
like, I mean, if you're, you know what, if you're smart enough to like poke that hole in this story, you probably don't believe in Santa Claus to begin with.
I guess if Cindy like thought he was Santa Claus, it would make sense for there still to be a cookie and for there to be presents. But why? Never mind. Why would he have dropped the presents off and then be like, "Oh, let me take this tree up to my workshop.
Santa gave this to me." I don't know. It's. Let's
all sit together and work this out real quick.
Probably took him only 10 minutes to write this movie because it's an illumination film, so it looks good. Like, really, like, a lot of the cinematography is good in this. A lot of the really swooping shots through the town. Like, it is a very Christmassy looking movie. It's bright, it's colorful, it is well animated. Like, it's extremely well animated. Like, it's textured and detailed and everything. And I can say that about pretty much every Illumination movie. They put so much time and effort into the animation of every single one of their movies, and they put none of it towards the scripts that they put out. Like, the bare minimum. Every Illumination movie I've seen is like the bare minimum as far as the script goes, to make the movie passable, to make it serviceable, to make it inoffensive and, you know, lacking any kind of bite or whatever. It's, you know, their movies at best will just be fine. A movie. It's a movie to put out there and make money, especially this one. And yeah, this goes along right there along with Sing and Secret Life of Pets and most other movies I've seen of theirs where it looks good, but probably took them 20 minutes to write.
I like Despicable Me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
One thing I will give this movie is that I like that Cindy Lou Who and her mother had like a nice relationship. Nowadays it's very difficult to find a parent-child relationship in a movie where one or the other isn't being totally shitty to each other for the first half of the movie. Just so they can like give you a little like, and then they were friends again.
And then they were friends again.
Couldn't they just be friends from the fucking beginning, being that they're family?
And then they were friends again after Billy Burke kidnapped them. You know what? You mentioning Despicable Me made me think that's a better Grinch movie than this is.
Yeah, that's a fucking good-ass Grinch movie.
Yeah, that's... do we get a thing?
Yeah, it says not a big fit. Hang on.
Boop.
I'm glad they went back to an animated Grinch film. Not a big fan of the Jim Carrey version.
Well, yeah, it seems like the only reason... I'm glad that got brought up, because it seems like...
Yeah, fucked up makeup with that movie.
All of the makeup was fucked up in that, which is, again, kind of why I respect it, because at least it had a unique look to it. This movie seems like it exists so that people who hate the Jim Carrey one will have a movie version of it that they like better.
Do.
I know, yeah. So I'm like, okay, so now that what we're left with is just kind of this generic Illumination movie that you might like better than the Jim Carrey one, but you're still gonna want to watch the animated one instead, the Boris Karloff one. Again, maybe I've just turned too much of a Grinch in my old age, because I didn't like this movie.
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
If I'd have been one of them who's at the Christmas party, I would have been so passive-aggressive that they would have had to, like, stuff me in the closet until he left. Like,
yeah.
Oh, look, everyone, the Grinch is here. Hide everything that brings you joy.
No, you're right, because this is what I was thinking in my head earlier. I was just having a bad time articulating it. If you're going to really, really draw this out and make it in the last part of it, like what happens in the book, what happens in the cartoon, in the animated special as well, have this, okay, he's in this community, he's carving the beast.
Yeah, don't rush the making good part.
Yeah. Actually have that discussion in this movie.
Yeah.
Actually have that dialogue with one another about it. Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I was failing to articulate earlier. It's very cool.
Show him going down to Oogie Boogie's lair.
Yeah. I think
He didn't even go down to Oogie Boogie's lair, did he? I thought that was Sally that rescued Santa Claus. It's been too long since I've watched that movie.
Which movie?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, for a second, I just had just a hole in my brain. I was like, I don't remember that from the Grinch. Did this?
Remember the Grinch with that big bag of bugs stole Santa Claus?
I was thinking in my head, I was like, is she thinking of Halloween Comes to Grinchtown?
Yes, that is precisely what I'm thinking of.
Oh shit, my mistake. I was actually thinking a Little Drummer Boy. Oops.
Whatever. He at least got blown up by fucking rockets.
Yeah. There's other things you could be doing with your fucking time than go see this movie. Like, all right, it's probably going to get pretty good word of mouth. I'm sure that it's gonna make a fuck ton of money.
Because it's not painful.
No, it's not.
You can just sit and watch this movie for an hour and a half. So, like, you just take your kids to see a fucking Christmas movie. Or, like, in a year from now, when you're sitting around with your family trying to figure out something inoffensive that everyone can enjoy. This probably would make it to the short list.
Yeah, because it's designed not to... It's designed not to upset anybody. And I'm not saying that a movie like this should be Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I want it to be upsetting.
But at least, like, it's the Grinch. At least make him the fucking Grinch. At least not just this dude who just sometimes he's upset. Yeah, I don't know. That's my final thought. Like, I would say, like, okay, because it's not, like, it's well animated enough, and it's not that, like, I'm sitting there pissed off during the thing or anything like that. There's worse kids movies I've seen this year. There's worse movies I've seen this year, by far and away. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I guess you could chalk this up to where it'd be a serviceable rental. But in that case, I'm also like, just watch the Boris Karloff one. Or, honestly, yeah, I did like the Jim Carrey one better than this. And again, I'm not even saying that was that good of a movie. I just at least respect it. And I don't respect this movie at all. At least the other one had vision. This doesn't. Trailers.
Yep. Okay, so Ugly Dolls, which we missed most of. But I actually watched on my own Steam on YouTube earlier today.
I have no idea what this is.
They're making a musical out of those Ugly Dolls.
Yeah, they look kind of familiar.
They're like dolls, and they're kind of like bug-eyed. They got, like, my daughter's got one, and so...
Oh, okay.
I'd probably take her to see it. Maybe she'll enjoy it, because she likes the musical. But, It's just it seems it's like dolls. They're ugly dolls, and they live like an ugly doll town. And Mr. Ugly Dog is Mr. Worldwide, aka Pitbull. And they've all got like a little song number, and then they go to Perfection Town, and I guess hijinks ensue.
Yeah, we walked in on that trailer, and really quickly in the trailer, I was like, okay, I guess this is based on something. I don't, well, and yeah, and I heard you go like, oh, it's this thing they're making a movie out of. I missed like the specific title that you said.
Ugly Dolls, it's Ugly
Dolls. So I'm like, oh, well, this is news to me.
Spies in Disguise.
What the fuck was that?
The first half of this preview, it's just like this like dapper spy guy.
Yeah, with a tagline that says "Super spy, gotta get super fly."
Yeah, and then he gets hit by like a ray gun that turns him into a pigeon with a little bow tie, and that's I guess the rest of the movie.
What the hell is that? I wasn't expecting that movie to turn into the pigeon version of 9 Lives halfway through.
No, like he must have had like known the guy who shot him with the pigeon gun, because he was like, Stewart, you turned me back into not a pigeon right this instant. And Stewart's like, no, man, you're gonna make a great spy.
That movie looked like they had 2 scripts, one about a super spy and the other about a guy who turns into a bird. Fuck it, we'll combine the 2.
I don't know
about
Will Smith
that.
needs to build a new kitchen.
Daddy needs a new suit.
My big pile of sleeping money is beginning to be depleted.
My Men in Black money. I need to play an agent again. Coming up. Smudge.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah. That's this is the trailer that's got Nick Cage in it.
Was it?
Yeah.
I was just happy that John Mulaney is Spider-Pig.
Oh yeah. Nick Cage, I think, is Spider Noir. No, that looks really good.
Spider Noir. Bringing up my flawless Nick Cage impression.
He's hitting all of me. He was Superman, and when Dave and I went to Teen Titans Go to the movies, now he's Spider-Man. I'm hoping that he will he will actually be playing Aquaman when we go see that movie.
Bumblebee.
It's nice to think that a Transformers movie looks good.
Yeah, it actually it's starting to look pretty charming. I don't know if I'm getting Stockholm Syndrome or whatever. But
no, I know the difference between the 2 of these fucking movies. Like this looks good in a genuine like, okay, that might actually be kind of cool, versus me and Brian go, oh, I can't wait to see what insane shit they're gonna do with Mark Wahlberg punching robot nuts again.
Turns out he's got truck nuts. It's like, oh, god damn it, they got me again.
Stupid truck nuts, they got me again. The last Transformers movie had drunken Stanley Tucci playing Merlin the Magician.
Wasn't he always in those movies?
No, he was in the 4th one. And then he had a cameo in the 5th one as Merlin, who sends the Autobots to help King Arthur. That happened.
Because wasn't he the guy that was like on the phone? He's like, I'm under a gigantic pair of robot testicles.
No, that was John Turturro.
Oh, okay.
And I can't remember if he was in 4 and 5. I don't remember. Those movies are like 5 hours long each.
I just remember the gigantic pair of robot testicles.
That was the
I remember those
second one.
2 dogs humping each other.
That was the second one again, yeah.
I remember Shia LaBeouf trying to get frisky in his college bedroom when his mom comes in and hopped up on painkillers.
I think that might have been all of them. Or the first 3 at least. Oh, yeah, the second one was where the mom
the racist robots.
That was all of them. Well, mainly the second one.
Maybe I've only seen the second Transformers, because it sounds like that's all I can remember.
The second one is the one that has the most memorably worse shit in it.
So good.
You got hair like a chia pet.
Oh no. Lego Movie 2? I didn't even know we were making a sequel to that.
Oh, you hadn't gotten this trailer yet?
No, that's really good.
Oh, yeah, I'd gotten that a few times. I'm kind of checking my expectations because it's different people making the movie.
Oh, it's not Lord Miller?
No, well, they're producers on it, I think, but they're not, I don't know who the director of it is, or the writers, really. Maybe they have a hand in that aspect, but it's not them directing it, so...
It's maybe not.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it could still be fine. I like the idea of there being, like, this Mad Max future starring a guy who's still continuously optimistic.
Yeah, I don't know what that means for the... Because wasn't... At the end of the first one, it turned out they were on that big table that the dad had set up, and like the kid was going to be able to like play with it going forward, which means that the kid turned it into a post-apocalyptic wasteland full of sewer babies.
I'm pretty sure I know exactly how it's going to end. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the sister who's playing with it.
I think it's going to be the sister who's the invader.
I think that's
who's bringing in like the girly stuff.
Yeah, I think that it's the sister, the human sister is going to be the one playing with the toys at the end, like how in the first one it's like, oh, it's this kid playing with the toys.
Yeah, but I mean, like in the opening scene when it's like the post-apocalyptic wasteland, I don't think the sister's gotten there yet, which means that's what the little boy turned it into.
Oh, it turned into a wasteland.
Yeah, and then like the alien spaceship shows up, it's like firing like hearts.
Yeah,
and it's run by the little thing in the helmet who like shoots like stickers and who's, you know, but kidnaps the girl one whose name escapes me.
Yeah, Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it's actually being played with by the live-action cat from the Lego Ninjago movie.
And then it's all inside a snow globe.
Yeah!
Secret Life of Pets 2. Which the only thing I know about this is that Patton Oswalt is doing the voice of that one dog now.
Oh, that's who that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like, I think it was Louis C.K. in the first one.
It was. Why isn't he back? He must have asked for too much money.
Probably just on the wrong person.
The first one, like, I like the idea of the first one where it's like, oh, Secret Life of Pets.
Yeah, what are they up to?
Oh, the first one was just a remake of Toy Story. It was the same exact story. And this one, I don't know, like, maybe this one will be more original or it'll be Toy Story 2. It was just a teaser. The teaser was funny.
Pretty good, though.
Well, yeah, so was Toy Story, but that's going to see Secret Life of Pets. I'm like, what's their secret life going to be? Oh, they just watched Toy Story and they're reenacting it, and it's not as good. So maybe, again, yeah, maybe this one will be... Oh, no, actually, maybe they'll surprise us. It'll be Cars 2. They're spies now.
It's me, Tow Mater. I'm a cat. Meow.
This movie's dumb.
Dude, if there was a cat in that movie that had that line, I would fucking go see it. I don't care.
4 stars. Best movie Illumination has ever done. Was that it?
Yep.
I'm actually not. I only had time to see one movie. I'm leaving. They were only doing one screening tonight, and there were no late screenings tonight, so I'm going up to Chicago to be in the movie tomorrow. Chicago, yeah. So it's like a week and a half shoot. So a lot of the other movies I'll have to kind of lump up together into one long day of movie watching. once we're done filming all of that. So I know I told you about like other movies coming out this weekend, and honestly it came down to like I only have time to see one. Mm-hmm. There's 2 other movies I would much rather see than Grinch, but Grinch will probably do the best.
So, what are the other 2 movies?
Overlord and Girl in the Spider's Web.
Oh, right. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so those I'll probably have to see once we're done shooting, because
Watch it turn out that one or the 2 of those movies is like this year's The Winter's Tale. With the Girl with the Spider's Web, if it were to be really, really bad, it would be this year's Snowman. Please. We actually saw a couple weeks late, and didn't we see the Snowman a couple weeks late as well? Because we skipped it because it looked silly. It turned out to be memorably silly.
We didn't skip it because it looked silly. Because looking silly means we absolutely wouldn't skip it. That was a case. I think I was at a con. I think I was at like a con or something. I was gone doing something when that came out. And so yeah, we had to go see it during the week. So yeah, maybe there'll be some craziness in store for us after a week and a half. Like I'm probably not gonna be able to see anything after every shooting. Like I was tired after every filming night for Jesus Bro, and I was only in one scene in that movie. Jesus Bro. All right, everyone. Thanks a bunch for watching, and we'll see you sometime.
Bye.
Later.